Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Deb's Way, and I'm Deb. And today I'm going to be telling you about my first part of the trip. The first video here that I'm going to post. I'm going to try and post them in subsequent order. I'm going to try and post the videos like one on one day, another video another day, and just do it like day after day after day until all the videos are shown, which will pretty much take up the rest of this week if I think about it correctly. Anyway, this first video is actually our first travel day. I already posted the one where we were in London on our own before the tour actually started, and we went and did Harrods, if you want to call it that way. We went shopping and had afternoon tea at Harrods, and it was wonderful again. I have to say that. But the second day, bright and early, we were met in the lobby of the hotel by the travel director and the bus driver, and they loaded up the bus. I shouldn't say a bus. It wasn't a bus. They call it a coach. They loaded up the coach with all of us there. There were about, like I said, 48 people, and we were off. We went through London, and that was the start of our 10-day excursion, actually. Our first day, and yes, I do have notes to remind me of where all I went and what I did on the recording that I'm going to show you. But our first stop was in Shottery, at the home of Anne Hathaway. That's Shakespeare's wife. That was her birthplace. And we had a group photo taken at that location. I'll try and show that later on in my little video at the end. We'll see if I can. But it was a group photo of everybody on the tour, except for one of my friends that went with me. She decided not to get off the coach at the time and take the little walk down the street to where the photo was being taken so that it would show Anne Hathaway's cottage right behind us. So unfortunately, she didn't make it into that photo. Everybody else did, including the driver and the travel director. So you can see what my travel group looked like. We had a lot of fun together. They're nice people. Okay. Yeah, and you'll also see that Anne Hathaway's cottage, it looks quite large from the outside. It is very meager, but it is quite a large building. But you'll also notice a thatched roof, which is very typical of cottages back in those days, and very typical of cottages or homes in the New Forest area. So they evidently last for many years. Cost quite a bit to replace or fix, but they last quite a long time. Okay, from Shottery, we went on to Stratford-upon-Avon, which is Shakespeare's birthplace, home place, where he lived. And we toured around the little, I call it village. I don't know if they call it a town yet, but I just like to call it a village. We toured around that area and shopped, and we had lunch at a little cafe that had street table and chairs. We ate there. And then we all loaded back up into the coach, and off we went again. From Stratford-upon-Avon, we went to Yorkshire, England. And there you'd see what was left of the Roman walls that were built around the city, entirely around the city. And there's like entryways within the city, which were the old Roman wall entry points into the city. It's a very ancient, historic area. I have on the film a picture of the York Minster, which is like their cathedral, a big church. Some of the ancient Roman walls. And then basically we shopped downtown. We shopped everywhere we went. But we shopped downtown and just toured around, looked around for a couple of hours. After a few hours in York, we were back on the coach again and heading down the highway towards our first stop for the night in Harrogate, which was in northern England. Harrogate, I would like to go back to someday and spend more time. It looked like a very nice area, and I guess we were told also that it was an area that a lot of people, like from London areas, went to retire. So there was a lot of money in that town, put it that way. We had our first sponsored meal at a pub there, a very nice pub. It had like an entertainment room in the back, and that was given to our group to have dinner at. And it was a very nice dinner, very nice place. And the hotel was pretty decent too. So the next day, though, we were on the road again, heading to the Lake District in England. And I had never been to that area before. It was absolutely beautiful. Every place we went, beautiful, 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 beautiful hills, beautiful countryside. Everything was lush, green, just gorgeous. Okay. We had a boat ride in Lake Windermere, and even though it was cold and drizzly and very cold to me, it was nice. It was a nice trip. I don't have anything bad to say about it. The scenery was lovely. It was just I keep saying beautiful, but it was a beautiful area. In the Lake Windermere area, we had lunch at a little shop on our own. We could have gone downtown to go shopping. We didn't go shopping there for some reason. We went to, well, we did in a way, okay. We went to have lunch at one of the little lakeside cafes, and then after lunch, they had a little gift shop. So yes, we went into the gift shop and looked around. So we did get some shopping in at that point too. From Lake Windermere, well, we also went on a little train ride. It was a steam engine train ride, which only traveled maybe about a mile in distance, if that, maybe a couple miles. I'm not sure. It was just to show you what travel was like back in the, 1800s, mid-1800s, late 1800s, in that area. I enjoyed it. It was a retired steam engine, but they had it working on the track. So it didn't travel from like one town to another. It just went from the little depot that they had set up to another little depot, a couple miles maybe at the most, down the road or down the track from where you started. But it was fun. It was interesting. And like I said, the steam engine itself still looked like what it would have looked like back in the late 1800s when it was fully functioning. So I kind of liked it. After the train ride, though, we headed into Scotland. We were at Scotland's Point. And our first stop was Gretna Green. And I don't know, maybe some of you have already heard about it, but Gretna Green is a stop-off for people that want to elope. Or it's a wedding capital of the area, is what it's known as. There is a what they call a wedding anvil that people stand over and they get married. There was also a hands together type of arrangement that couples within our tour group would have their pictures taken underneath that, okay? It was just kind of a nice little area with, of course, shops and little fast food type restaurants type of thing. So we stopped there for a little while, and after that, we made our way to Glasgow. We were in Glasgow actually for 2 nights. Didn't really tour a lot around Glasgow except for Stirling Castle. We went and saw that, and that was on our first night. We toured the Stirling Castle grounds. A bagpipe player was there with us. We had our photo taken with a bagpipe player. We saw the Wallace Memorial. Wallace is very famous in the Scottish history. He battled against the English way back when, and there's a memorial to him. And then after little photo sessions with the bagpipe player there on the castle grounds, the bagpipe player played his bagpipes and marched us down the cobblestone hill to the restaurant down below, actually a pub restaurant. And that's where we had a traditional dinner of haggis. Some people tried it, but this is where I met up with my pen friend from 50 years ago. He joined us for this little Scottish tour there and went to dinner with us, and he told my friend and I not to try the haggis, that we would not like it, that he didn't like it. So he more or less talked us out of trying it. And I kind of am glad that he did, because I don't think I would have liked it. It doesn't sound, I'll eat liver. Beef liver is okay. My mother used to fix that, liver and onions, that's okay. I love fried chicken liver, yeah. But that haggis looked really kind of weird. So I'm just as glad that he talked us out of trying it. I guess I don't regret not trying it. I guess I don't regret trying it. No, I guess I don't regret him talking us out of trying it. That was right the first time, Deb. Just leave it as it is, yeah. Okay. The next day, we headed to Edinburgh for the day. We had an outing at the Edinburgh Castle. We shopped along the Royal Mile, which is the road that leads from the castle down into the town at the time, and still now. There were many shops along the Royal Mile, and during the time that we were there, the royal tattoo and the fringe were going on, so that's why there were a lot of tourists in town, many people in town for the fringe especially, it seemed. And there were a lot of street performers, and I caught some of that on film as well, and a bagpipe player. And of course, that's always a tourist attraction. People are going to want to stop and have their picture taken with him. I did not, but somebody else did, and I got that on film. We did a lot of shopping there. My friend did some banking there. And I do remember outside the bank there was a homeless person, I assume homeless person, sitting with a sign, about needing money. He needed so much money, and I seem to remember he needed 18 pounds for a bed that night at some home. And I questioned him I talked to the people in the bank about that first of all, to see if they knew that person, if he was somebody that was always there, or if they knew anything about him, to see if it was legit. And the guy I talked to said that, no, he'd seen him before in town, but he really didn't know anything about him. So, okay. Upon leaving the bank, I stopped and talked to the guy. And yes, he was homeless. And yes, it did cost 18 pounds, which is about maybe $20-some for a bed. It cost him that much for a bed. And I asked him where he would be going for that. And he told me, just right down the street. And that's where the bank guy told me there was beds available for homeless people. So right away I thought, okay, he's legit. He knows. He's telling me at least to make me believe that he is going for a bed at a normal place. So anyway, I did give him some money, and I wished him well. But I don't typically just give money to people that are begging on the street. I'll talk to them and just see what their situation is. And I did believe this guy. And you know what? Some people can really make their story sound very believable, but really they're scammers, But I just have faith, and I go with that. I found Edinburgh to be really, I don't want to say exciting. I don't mean that. It was very interesting to me. It seemed to be more of the type of British town that I like to visit, where I felt it was very ancient. Glasgow to me is very modern. It's becoming more modern with a lot of construction going on, a lot of building changes being made. I liked the area that we were in, that we visited in Edinburgh. But I'd have to see Glasgow again and really kind of get in there and look around at the different places. Like I said, we did not go anywhere downtown in Glasgow to shop or look around or tour, sightsee, whatever. We just drove around a little bit, but it looked very modern to me from what I could tell. Which isn't bad, and I don't mean that. I just mean it didn't seem real British to me. I like the old stuff, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, Edinburgh was booming with people. There were people all over the place. It was very crowded. Towards the end of our stay there, when we were supposed to meet back up at the coach, my friends and I headed to a little place where there were some stands, some seats and tables to sit down at and maybe have a drink of some sort. So we were sitting there waiting for the time to go to our coach stand. And when we walked in there, one of my friends was already there sitting at a table for two. So her friend walked up to her, and I didn't have a place to sit. Right behind them, right off to the side of them, was another two-seater table where an elderly man was sitting. And there was an open seat next to him, which was near my friend's. Got the picture? Okay. So I asked him, I said, is anybody sitting here? Do you mind if I sit here? No, he said, fine, no problem. So I sat down and, chatted with my friends a bit, and then I turned to him and I said, so are you here for the day? I started chatting with him. Why not? Shoot. And I found out that he and his wife were visiting with their son, who had recently moved to Edinburgh, that he had recently completed his PhD. Yes, I learned all this. His son had recently completed his PhD, and was starting a new job in Edinburgh, and so was setting up a new apartment, and they were there to visit with him and help him get things set up. And what happened was that his son and his wife wanted to go up near where the castle was, up a hill, a cobblestone hill, and there was a shop up in that area that she wanted to go to, so the son was going to walk her up there. The dad couldn't make that trip, so the son took him into the seating area, said, "You stay right here, don't move from here whatsoever. Don't move from here whatsoever, we will be back shortly." So the father had orders. He had to stay put, which he was doing very nicely. The son did not say, "Don't talk to strangers," but he was very nice. And I had a very nice conversation with him, learned about his son, learned that his wife was from Wales. That's where he met her. They were living in London at the time, retired in London. He had relatives in Florida. He asked where I was from, and I said Florida, and he said, "Oh, I got some relatives there in Orlando area." Okay. He was trying to remember their name, but couldn't. And, oh gosh, I forget what else he told me, but within not even half an hour's time, here came his son and his wife back to pick him up. And I turned and looked, when he said, "Well, there's my son now." And I looked, and his son looked kind of worried, like, what is my dad doing with that woman? It's like, well, anyway, the son came up to me, and I said, "Well, congratulations on your new degree." And he looked at me, and he looked at his dad, and thought, "Wow, what? How do you know?" And I said, "Your dad and I have been having a very nice conversation." So, anyway, his dad had to go to the bathroom. So the son showed him where that was at, and then he came back and sat with me. And the son was telling me a little bit more. So he was talking with me too, So anyway, it was kind of fun. Anyway, how did I get on that subject? I don't know. I just kind of digress into anything. Where was I? Okay. The next day after Edinburgh, we took to the road again, going through Scotland, over some very rugged land, beautiful hilly land, full of sheep. And I seem to remember that one of our tour guides told us that the sheep that is raised in Scotland is the meat. The sheep are slaughtered and the meat is sent to France. It's not really, it's too expensive for Scotland. That's one of the comments that she made. I found that rather interesting. But anyway, we headed to western Scotland to the shore to catch our ferry over to Ireland. And, I do remember one thing too that we passed on the way to the ferry. That was Trump's golf course over there, his resort golf course. Yeah, it was set back off the highway and very luxurious looking, very nice, modern, new. Didn't see a lot of people around there, but anyway, it looked very nice. I bet it's very, very private too. I don't remember what part of Scotland that was in, town-wise, but it was before you reached the ferry, I know that. Anne Hathaway's house, Shottsbury, England. Shakespeare's birthplace, Stratford-upon-Avon. Stratford-upon-Avon. Weird. Yorkshire, England. Downtown. York Minster Cathedral. All the way out.
Well, I would hope we have centering people.
There we go.
RAF Menwith Hill.
Yorkshire.
RAF means
Just starting
of
to
Royal
this
Air
area.
Force. This is the largest electronics buying facility in the world. Yeah, but don't tell anybody. It's it's
Supposedly a
basically
spy
50s,
system.
and it's actually the
Huge
filming not
rainbows in
all
the distance.
It's although it's here, they're about. I think we're.
This is Lake Windermere in England yet, in the Lake District. Beautiful area. Beautiful. I'm windblown. I'm cold. But it's beautiful. It's a foggy day and a little bit drizzly, but it's a beautiful area. Gretna Green Marriage Arch in Gretna Green, Scotland.
Oh, yes.
We're in Edinburgh, Scotland. Beautiful pub, Deacon's Pub, having lunch. Very ornate. This is our pub lunch in Edinburgh at Deacon's Pub. I'm having a chicken and avocado sandwich on a bun and fries or chips. And I already took a bite out of the chicken sandwich. I couldn't wait. It's delicious. Downtown Edinburgh, Scotland. During the tattoo, just a little street side theater. Right outside the castle in Edinburgh. Okay. You're going to have your picture taken with him, evidently. Northern Ireland after ferrying across from Scotland on the Irish Sea. We should be coming into Belfast shortly. This is the first time I've been to Ireland. Nice coastline. Let me see if I can get it. A beautiful first view.